So some common mistakes that beginners make when drawing hair. Mistake number one, they tend to draw it flat against the top of the head. Hair is not flat against the head, or flat against the head like this, or flat against the head like this. Hair puffs up above the head, generally speaking. Also, another common mistake that beginners tend to make is they put the hairline way too high up. So if your eyes are in the middle of your head, so that's about the eye line, that's not where your hair is. Generally, your hairline is a little higher than halfway up the forehead is where your hairline starts. And then it kind of comes out to the corners of your head and then slants down to your ears, which start at about the same height as your eyes or your brows. So that's generally where your hairline is, and the hair tends to, unless you have really flat hair, puff up above your head. Even if you're male, even if you're female, it doesn't matter. There's some hair above the top of the head. A lot of the other things that people do is they draw all the strands in the same direction. Most of the time, if you look at hair, there's strands crossing over one another. Hair is going off in all kinds of different directions, just like eyebrows. Let's get back. Let's look at some examples of this. So this is the girl I drew. Let's look at some men's hair for a change, since we always look at the female stuff. Okay, that one's not very good, not very clear.
I want to draw Tintin's hair. Tintin.
Tintin?
The comic boy.
Yes.
Man, I guess.
Yeah, that's easy. Pop, pop, pop. Okay. So she's got good hair to look at. Sorry, we're looking at a girl again. Sorry, guys. But do you see how there's like this strand is going in this direction? Then there's a strand over here going in that direction. Then there's a strand coming up that's almost perpendicular to this strand. So the hair strands don't all run in the same direction. Okay, so by strand I mean clump of hair. And I'm gonna add her to my hair board because she's got good hair for drawing. And then I'm gonna go back to my hair board. Let's look at this lady's hair. Okay. Oh no, this is one of those changing things. She's got good hair to look at. So there's a lot of, they converge on this one point. It's almost like a starburst coming out from this point. Do you see how this strand is running in that direction? This strand's going that way. That strand's going that way. This one's going this way. This one's going that way. Then there's one coming down under here and crossing underneath all of them. Okay, so all the strands are not running in the same direction. A lot of the times when people draw hair, they're not drawing any of the flyaways. Even when your hair has just been perfectly done by a hairdresser, which that one obviously has. I did not mean to click on that. She still has some flyaways, which you can't see because the photo wants to go dark. But if you look, there's flyaway hairs on the corners of her whole do, right? So there's hair sticking out, okay? Everybody has flyaways. If you're gonna draw realistic hair, you wanna draw some of those. There's also gonna be light spots on real hair. So there's like a streak of light running here. That's not really, it gets part of the strand. So the strand is dark, then it's suddenly very light here. Let's look at another example of that. This one's good. So she's got all of these spots where, like, look at her bun. There's like this line that runs perpendicular to the direction of the strands where the light is catching it. Okay, so most people will have some places like that in their hair where their light almost runs perpendicular to it. So if you did draw your hair something like this, let's say you did it something like this, but they're all the same color, right? You can probably go and erase some of those lines, and that'll already look more realistic, right? So hairline to eye, we talked about that. Using a blunt pencil and then not making different lengths of pencil strokes. So if we look at the example that I've got here, if you're drawing a strand of hair, right, let's say you're drawing a lock of hair, if you're making all of your pencil strokes the same length, it's not going to look very realistic. Whereas even if you're differentiating them a little bit, you're going to get much more realistic results. Okay? And then I also like to start from the darkest point and then move my pencil strokes towards the lightest point of the hair. Because if you make a pencil mark, if you put it down and drag it up, like this looks more like a hair root, and that looks more like a hair tip, right? So if you're drawing a beard, only one person here has a beard, okay? You've got like stubble.
Yeah,
So if you're going to draw a self-portrait, you're going to probably wind up drawing some beard hairs, but you want to put it down, kind of pull it out in the same direction. And then even if you've got like a fade, you probably have some, or like side hairs, you've got some short hairs that you're going to want to draw. Not looking at your reference and making your hair formulaic. That's a big problem. Not using different hardness pencils. We'll talk about that more in a second. And not layering. Okay, so let's draw a lock of hair.
So I have a question. How much?
Yes.
How much is a set of pencils like similar to these like Michael's or the arts and crafts store?
This pencil set that I have here, I paid $16 for. That had all my pencils, my charcoal, my erasers, and everything in it. I got this off of Amazon. If you come ask me after class, I'll give you the link. I'll find it. And they're good pencils, so that would be a good one to get. Okay, so grab a fresh sheet of paper, or use the one that you were just drawing on and turn it the other way or something. So I want you to draw, so grab a fairly soft pencil, like one of your higher number Bs, and we're gonna do a lock of hair. So let's just do like basically a banana shaped lock of hair here. If you want to get fancy, if you want to make it easy on yourself, do a banana shape. Do it kind of big, don't make it small. I want it to at least like fill up half of your paper. So if you want to get fancy, if you think you can do a little bit more than that, then make it curl around so you can see the back side of it too. So I'm going to make mine curl around. You want hair to be really flowy, so don't be scared to make multiple marks. Don't try to make it a hard outline. So I'm making this lock kind of curve around. Okay. And it doesn't, this shape doesn't have to be exact. I'm just kind of going to draw the top and the underside of a piece of hair. So now I'm going to use my darker pencil to go add some of those darker lines. I guess this is like a lock that's standing up. Really, we want this to be upside down. Just turn it upside down. Pretend that we had it this way around the whole time. Okay, so this is the front side of the lock. Your hair, your light source is coming from over here. Okay, this is the back side of the lock. So this side is going to be a lot darker. So use your sharp, soft pencil to make some lines on the back side of the lock. And then also make a few lines starting from the top and the bottom of the front side of this lock, but don't bring them all the way to the center. And I want more dark lines on the back side than on the front side of this lock. So the part that's catching the light has fewer lines on it right now. Next step, take your blending tool, whatever blending tool you're using, and use it in the same direction as the lines that you just drew. Start with the lightest, the front part of the lock first, going in the same direction as the lines you drew, starting from the top, drawing them down. And then go do your back side. Then you're going to grab a mid hardness pencil and, whoops, I missed a spot. Oh, actually, before you grab the mid hardness pencil, grab your eraser and make a few, starting from the lightest spot maybe and going down, make a few lighter lines that crisscross over, cross onto over the back side of the lock, come from different areas of the back side of the lock. Those little hairs that catch the light is what we're adding in now. So you're actually going to cross over some of the lines you just created. You can actually remove some of those, but with a very fine eraser. And if you don't have a very fine eraser, you can break one of your hard erasers or cut it into very thin strips. Then you're gonna grab a mid-weight pencil, like an HB, and draw a few more lines, slightly lighter and slightly deeper into the center of your lock, into the light spots on your lock. Not all the way to the middle of it, but a little bit more crossing into the lighter spots of your lock. And now I also want you to start adding some flyaways on the side. They're still going in the same direction as the lock, but they're standing out from the side of it. They're drifting beyond the lock. And you also want to add them in here at the bottom, at the back of the lock. Maybe not that many, maybe I added too many. So I'm actually going to go take some of those away. That looks unnatural. And then I want to add a few more here in the center to soften up that transition. And again, making different lengths pencil strokes. All of your pencil strokes run in the same general direction, but they're not parallel. And if you're drawing cats, this is still relevant. Okay, so now when you're done with that, you can choose, if you choose to go soften those up again, you can. I would just use a clean smudging blender. Or you can use your lightest colored pencil like your 4H. Now you're really going to get in there. Now you're going to draw some very light lines, actually going all the way into these light spots, but don't draw one line all the way through. Draw the lines coming into your light spots and then stopping, and starting from the bottom, coming into the light spot and then stopping. And there's still more of them at the top and the bottom of your lock. I'm going to add more of those more details to those flyaways. And then finally, I like to take a mechanical pencil, or you can use a really dark, very sharp, this is not sharp enough, regular pencil, but you want it to be like so sharp that if you accidentally touch the tip, you'd be sorry. Really, really sharp. That's not sharp enough. If you look at it, it should kind of like twing at you like a cartoon. Okay, so that, and then you got to press really lightly with this thing because this tip wants to break on you. And then you're going to add more definition to the back side of the lock with this. So adding some more, going into some of those flyaways that you added at the end. And then maybe if you're looking at your reference, you might have like a spot where this lock is actually split, and you can actually see some of the darker hair underneath it. So you're going to draw anything like that in with your darker pencil. Try also different ways of holding your pencil if you like. See what works for you. But basically, there's a lock of hair. So the key to drawing effective hair is an incredible amount of patience, layering, doing it again and 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 again until you get it right. So, you have a lot of time to practice. Find some hair, preferably some shiny hair, and draw it. Do not get into too much detail with facial features. If you're going to draw the face at all, just draw basic outlines of the face. You can Google Pantene ad or whatever shampoo you think might bring up some good hair to draw, but if it's a shampoo ad, there's probably going to be some model with very shiny hair that you can draw.
For our self-portrait, instead of looking in a mirror, would it be okay if we did like a black and white photo of ourselves?
As long as you, when you do it, preferably get somebody else to do it
Yeah.
for you instead of a selfie,
Of
because the
course.
selfie camera is
Yeah.
get them to stand at least 3 feet away from
Okay.
you when they do it, so that you don't have the lens compression,
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
fish face. And make sure it's straight dead on.
Okay.
And also make sure you choose the proper light source. Like, don't do it with like overhead lights, so you've got raccoon eyes.
Maybe do it outside.
Outside would be good.
Okay.
I'd also say like do it with an interesting light.
Okay,
Like, so
not
like,
not with diffuse light.
yeah, so like not in the middle of the day, because then you
Yeah.
can have the raccoon eyes. Like closer to sunset or closer to sunrise is better. If you're gonna do that, that would be awesome, but you can also do side lighting. So like one half of your face being more light than the other.
Okay.
That makes for a more interesting portrait.
Yeah.
You can do, so there's different styles of light. So you've got side lighting where one side is dark, the other side is light. Then if you turn your face ever so slightly, you get that triangle of light. That's called Rembrandt lighting. You turn it a little bit more, you've got the 3/4 lighting. If you turn it straight on, you've got the diffuse full face light. But it's gonna be harder to define the features if you've got that.
Yeah.
Unless you take a black piece of paper and put it underneath you, which will cast some shadows up, which could be really cool too. I also do photography. Yes. Very cool. Yeah. So, yep, so try, yeah, you didn't do too bad on the first one. What do you see that you could have done better on the first one?
Well, I think more of the definition, a little of, I mean, we did a little of it, so it wasn't like one big piece of hair, but more the little flyaways and the
bangs are usually not straight,
Yeah,
just like the same way that eyelashes are curved,
yeah.
and they curve in different directions, and the curving foreshortens. The same thing happens with bangs.
Yeah, but that's just like, we took the
Yeah.
whole.
I actually want to show you guys something else that's a good trick that I like to use if I'm drawing specific models' hair, specific reference pictures' hair. That I totally forgot to show you. But let's say we're drawing this gentleman's hair. Oh, there's a lot of this guy. Is this guy famous or something?
I've never seen
Okay, well,
it.
he's all over Pinterest apparently. Anyway, I'm serious. I don't know who that is. Okay, but let's say I'm drawing his hair. I would start with drawing my egg shape for his head, and his head is a little bit more of a square shape than an egg shape. But so I'm just going to draw the top of his head real quick. So I'm kind of roughly mapping out the square head. That's kind of roughly his hairline. That's all I can see right now. Kind of goes like that. Kind of goes like that. Down there for the bangs. There's an ear there. Eyes. That's a little bit more out. There's an ear there. So I'm just kind of getting my rough shapes in. Then the next thing that I'm going to go do if I'm doing his hair specifically is I'm going to trace some of the actual strands on his head. So I'm going to draw in that strand, and then I'm going to draw in that strand, and then I'm going to follow this one around here as it curves. This one curves down even more. That one goes down, that one points down. There's one going here in the front, another one going across it in the front. This one's coming down. There's one going out that direction. There's one that's kind of standing up and curving around. So I just kind of roughly draw in the direction of the strands on like a lot of different, and then I can see there's a strand going back there, but it's cut over by a bunch of strands going in the opposite direction. So I just kind of roughly mark where the strands go for myself. And then I'll take my light pencil and I'll draw shapes. So here I see, I'm not very good with drawing men in general, but there I see kind of a shape that looks like that. And then I see a shape that looks like a crocodile tooth. This whole section here is almost like a triangle with a tip cut off. So I just kind of roughly block in the shapes. And then any of these original construction lines that I used, I'll go erase them because they're not running in the same direction as the hair, so they're going to show up at the end. So I'll go soften up that hairline. And then you can go get specific and sit there for 500 years drawing his hair. But the idea is what I'm trying to show you is you draw the specific strands that point in the specific different directions to start off with, to give you a good idea of which way they're pointing. Just like the same way that you do with eyebrows or eyelashes. Draw in a few of them to map it out, and then draw in more and more and more and more until you're sick of drawing hair.
I just want to do a little bit of Libby's hair. The first one, I'm way off on the first one, but So I did a little bit of the one latest, but I'm way up on the other, from the first part.
That
the
looks
banana
good
shape
to me.
thing.
Yeah, that looks good to me. Try another one. Pull up a specific reference photo on your phone,
Okay.
and
Very predictable.
everybody knows that we have free Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
Library free, no password. If you
Though I thought she was.
need to
gonna
connect to the
salty
internet,
rather than
always do that.
Yeah. That was the only thing I didn't, I was like,
Redacted drawing is really fun for drawing here.
what's redacted?
Ooh, good chuckle.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the same thing with graphite. We just don't have the flat sticks of graphite. I have some when I tried with graphite. But yeah, I like to, especially for darker tones, like if it's blondes and stuff, I like to draw build up. But if it's a dark haired woman, I'll actually like start with like a mid tone
Yeah.
and then erase lines and add darker tones in certain places.
Would you consider this one hard to draw or easier? This one.
That's
Easy draw or hard draw?
It's up to you. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, it depends on,
that's in between.
yeah.
It could go either way. It really depends on how. I'd say this guy's tough to draw.
If you had more waves, more, what do you say, more different, definition, defined lines in there, wavy defined lines in there.
I drew this one, and I specifically chose her because she had a lot of stuff going on. So that's the picture that I did in an hour last night. That's this one over here. I chose her because she had a braid with a lot of loose hair, and there's some spots where it was very light and some spots where it was very dark. So
That's your draw.
I kind of just tidied up her hair a little bit.
Yeah, I think when she got her photo taken with her hair
It's
Ridiculous.
it's boho hairstyles. Pinterest knows what I like. It's like, you like bohemian hairstyles, right? Here's 5 million of them on your feed every day. I'm like, yes, I'll pin that. Yes, I'll pin that. Yes, I'll pin that. This one is also a good one because it actually shows the construction of the face on a 3/4 view with where the hair fits in. So if you're looking at it's about, so this is obviously the eye sockets. So about, and the nose would be about here. So like this would be the edge of the nose. So kind of halfway is the hairline in front of the ear, below the ear. Again, midway up the forehead, more or less. If you have a lot of time on your hands, drawing hair like this is real fun too. The stubble and the beards. I've seen some really cool hair studies where they don't draw anything except the hair.
I believe this one would be really difficult, cause look at all the curls in that.
Well, she's got a lot of curls, there's just a lot going on, there's no like basic structure. I would draw a section of that. Maybe Google hair lock. Look up hair lock and just draw a lock of hair instead of a whole head of hair.
That would probably take all day to draw that one there.
Or look up bun, like a bun,
Like a
like a
hair
hair bun, yeah,
Okay.
draw a hair bun probably on
Okay.
it. That's a good one to draw to practice, or a braid, braids are also fun.
Yeah.
Tied up hair is easier to draw, or
Or a bun.
ponytail. Some of the pictures I collected for you guys, kind of scroll through them and show you some stuff. This is an example of how somebody drew a straight woman's hair from behind. Straight woman. A woman with straight hair from the back. Words are hard and language is weird. And this one's a woman with wavy hair. Obviously-
Straighter hair would be more simpler to draw than the wavier hair.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but this is very straight hair. This is like a lady, both of these women blow out their hair on the daily, and most of us don't do that. I clearly don't.
You could try it on up there and next to
It would not. In fact, it would not. If I wanted these gone, I have to cut them off. Yeah. Ooh, you're going in my hair folder. Okay. Take me to hair. What else?
I think it'd be funny for you to go into like a nice looking hair salon and just sit down and be like, yeah, if you could just give me like a blowout or something.
I was walking down the street in Tarpon Springs past the barber shop, and somebody said, "Come in, I'll give you a haircut." And I was like, "That is so rude."
Wow.
I'm never
They were
referring
standing out
anyone to
front-
you.
Outside, they were standing out front of the bar.
Yeah.
Outside,
I was smoking.
Oh, yeah.
This
And
is,
you happened to be walking by and they.
These are some hair studies that I found on Pinterest. This is somebody's drawing of hair. Can you imagine how many thousands of hours that took to do?
Wow.
It's very good.
Do that one?
I am not that patient. That's also a drawing.
Oh, that's very good.
That also needs to go in my hair folder though. This one's pretty great also. They got less specific with this one, less detailed, but you still see the general idea of like the lines not being the same length. There's light spots. There's very specific strands that run in opposite directions to each other. So they did a really good job with this one.
Are we gonna do body drawing too?
Eventually. Eventually, yes. I would love to do gestural drawing. This one is also just ridiculous. Well, okay, it's one of those annoying changing things too. Yeah, I would like to do figure studies and gestural drawings, but that is in the future so distant that I can't see it right now. I even talked to my manager about getting some people in yoga tights in here for us to do poses. Here is a good example of what I mean by drawing the different strands as they go in different directions. So you might so these red arrows show which way the strands are going in different parts of this head, right? So that's a
I
good.
can imagine walking by a barbershop and I run out and seeing your haircut. I've walked by a barbershop and seen the worker out front and asked